Among the many things that Jesus Christ revealed to his disciples was this very old and fundamental truth. There is more happiness in giving than there is in receiving. Jesus learned this truth from his Father, Jehovah God, who is the greatest example of a happy giver. At Genesis 1:27, we see clear evidence of Jehovah's generosity. Genesis 1:27 says, "And God went on to create the man in his image. In God's image he created him. Male and female he created them." This verse describes humans as a unique creation, different in many ways from all other forms of life on earth. We are made in Jehovah's image. Jehovah God designed us to reflect his personality. We have within us the capability of cultivating the divine quality of generosity and to experience the happiness that comes from giving. We really do get pleasure out of giving to family, friends, even to people we don't know. It makes us feel good to give to others. However, the most important giving that we can do, and the key to happiness in life, is to give our Creator what he deserves. Revelation chapter 4, verse 11, sets forth clearly the things that Jehovah God deserves, and it shows the reason why we should give such things to God. Read with me, Revelation chapter 4, verse 11. It says, "You are worthy, Jehovah our God, to receive the glory and the honor and the power, because you created all things, and because of your will they came into existence and were created." We exist because Jehovah created us. That fact makes him worthy to receive from us glory, honor, and power. That's what you candidates for baptism have made the decision to do, to give Jehovah God glory and honor and power. You do this by praising his name, by obeying him, and by using your life, your power, energy, and your whole strength to do his will. By getting baptized in symbol of your dedication to God, you are declaring publicly that you have given yourself to Jehovah. You have made a gift to God of your heart, mind, and strength, your very being. And you have made this decision because you have come to know Jehovah and you love him. We are happy to acknowledge your decision to give yourselves to God, and we wholeheartedly welcome you baptism candidates. Giving of yourself in baptism will lead to great happiness because it opens up opportunities to give of yourself in ways that truly count. Your baptism brings you into a special relationship with Jehovah. It allows you to participate in doing his will with his approval because you are obeying him. You become one of Jehovah's witnesses, qualified to present the evidence that Jehovah is the only living and true God. Your dedication in baptism opens the door for you to become part of the worldwide brotherhood, a true modern-day miracle. There is nothing anywhere on this planet that can compare to the visible part of Jehovah's organization, made up of people from all nations, tribes, languages, and backgrounds. People who really do love God and love one another. You have more opportunities now than ever before to give and receive encouragement. For example, think of the encouragement you get from the brotherhood in fulfillment of Jesus' promise at Mark 10:29 and 30. In those two verses, Jesus assured his disciples that they would get 100 times more of what they left behind in this old world. And in the coming system of things, he said that they would have everlasting life. It must have given Jesus pleasure to share that wonderful and encouraging promise with his disciples. And it most certainly made the disciples happy. That's how it is, isn't it? Giving and making other people happy makes us happy. The happiness you can experience by helping others is unlimited, because Jehovah focuses on your motive for giving, why you give. Jehovah never takes for granted what you do, and he will always reward you for it. Read with me Hebrews chapter 6, verse 10, and take note of the fact that Jehovah God remembers why you give and what you do to advance kingdom interests. Hebrews chapter 6 and verse 10. It reads, "For God is not unrighteous so as to forget your work and the love you showed for his name by ministering and continuing to minister to the holy ones." As the Scripture shows, Jehovah won't forget what you do because you are motivated by love for his name. Let's now consider more closely two areas in which baptism broadens your opportunities to give. First, making disciples. And second, helping your brothers and sisters in the faith. The foremost way for you and for me to give is by sharing the good news of the kingdom and making disciples. Jesus' exhortation to make disciples is found at Matthew 28:19 and 20. The commission to make disciples was given not only to the first century Christians, but to all of Jesus' disciples, right down to the time of the end in which we are living. Think for a moment about what is involved in disciple making. It's the result of preaching and teaching. And you know that it takes time to prepare for and take part in the ministry. The sample presentations we see in the midweek meetings are not complicated, and it's good that they don't change too often. But to have a presentation well in mind and be prepared for the field service, you may need to give up some time you formerly spent on yourself. It takes time to learn a presentation and to become familiar with it. But taking the time is worth it. It's a good feeling to be prepared and ready to preach, to have something to say, and a video to show whenever you have the opportunity. There are sheep out there, but we don't know where they are, and so we try to call on everyone. People need to hear about the kingdom, whether they accept the message or not. So don't become discouraged if you don't have the kind of results you anticipated. Just keep on preaching, and you will be blessed. When you preach, you are engaging in the most important work being done today, announcing God's kingdom, the fulfillment of Matthew 24:14. And this good news of the kingdom will be preached in all the inhabited earth for a witness to all the nations, and then the end will come. You are successful in obeying Jesus' words to preach the kingdom message, even when people reject the good news. You can't control how people respond, but you do not let up in preaching the life-saving message of truth. Honest hearts respond to the kingdom message. Be courageous and trust in Jehovah and His powerful Spirit to help you. Your work will have everlasting results for you personally and for those who listen to you and embrace the truth. The Apostle Paul tells us at 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 9, that by sharing in the ministry, you become Jehovah's fellow worker. Can you imagine? Jehovah invites imperfect humans to cooperate with Him, the Almighty Creator, in a special work that He considers highly important. Your faith and hope become stronger as you give by sharing with others what you know about Jehovah and the kingdom. Keep in mind the simple and enriching truth stated at Proverbs chapter 11, verse 24. It applies both materially and spiritually. That's Proverbs chapter 11, verse 24, and it reads, "One gives generously and ends up with more. Another withholds what should be given, but he comes to poverty." No matter how much you give to Jehovah, you will always get back more than you give. You can't outgive Jehovah. Isn't that wonderful? Seize every opportunity to give of yourself in the ministry, and your giving will continue to bring you happiness. The more involved you are, the happier you will be. Engage in the ministry every week if at all possible. Also, think seriously about reaching out to serve as an auxiliary pioneer or a regular pioneer. Talk to pioneers about the joy they get from the ministry. It's contagious. Many doors to wonderful experiences and blessings open to those who reach out to expand their ministry. Your regular participation in the preaching work allows you the opportunity to develop skill in using the Bible, starting conversations, and in using the teaching toolbox. All of us enjoy doing the things that we do well. When you're good at something, usually you like doing it. Work at improving the quality of your ministry. As you do, your joy will increase. One way joy increases is by participating in various forms of the ministry: public witnessing, house-to-house, informal, telephone witnessing, and letter writing. Also, you can develop your skills in using the Bible, your tablet or cell phone, to bring up scriptures or videos. Take the time to practice starting conversations and in using the teaching toolbox. It does take practice to find exactly what you're looking for and then using it to give a witness. Approaching strangers and engaging them in conversation about the Bible can be a challenge. Why? One reason is because some of us are more reserved than others. We are pleased to introduce Sister Lorraine Jackson. Sister Jackson has been serving for many years in special full-time service and visiting a variety of lands with her husband, Jeffrey. Sister Jackson, at first, when you learned the truth in Fiji as a young person, how did you feel about sharing in the ministry?
Brother Malenfant, I am shy and reserved by nature, and I remember that when I first learned that Jehovah wants us to preach His good news, I was excited, but even more so, I was terrified. I understood that preaching would mean approaching strangers and trying to have conversations with them, often when they least expected it. And really, all I wanted to do was just be quiet and be on my own.
I think there are many brothers and sisters who feel the same way. What helped you to share in the ministry more fully?
I think the main thing that has helped me is relying on Jehovah's help through prayer. Like many others, I talk to Jehovah constantly about my struggles. The struggle to say the right thing, the struggle to not show fear in my manner or my voice, the struggle to remember the right scriptures to use and to use them well. And of course, if someone is rude, to try and remain calm and kind.
Your words are appreciated. Tell us, what are some of the things that bring you joy in the ministry?
The things that bring me joy are the very things I could not have done without Jehovah's help. Things like conversing freely with people, strangers, about Jehovah and the Bible, and then having the opportunity to see people's eyes light up when they read or understand a Bible verse for the first time. I think those are really precious. And of course, helping a Bible student work through a problem, and then also trying to become their friend. I think things like these really show Jehovah's power and support, and all I can do is thank him for them.
That's very encouraging for all of us, Sister Jackson. My final question is, how do you feel about participating in various aspects of the ministry?
I know I still lack so much, but I'm so grateful for the opportunity I've been given to participate in various aspects of the ministry because they've allowed me to help others start their own journeys to becoming Jehovah's friend, and also given me an opportunity to work with Jehovah and really rely on him. I feel the ministry helps one, especially if one is shy, to focus on others, on Jehovah, on Jesus, on people and their needs, and not so much on one's own limitations. It's true, I'm still very reserved and shy, and as those close to me know, some days are good, and other days I feel like hiding somewhere and not saying much. However, the ministry has helped me manage my shyness and has helped train me to accept other assignments of service. I am convinced that anyone, whether timid or otherwise, can rejoice in the ministry, provided they rely constantly on Jehovah and focus on him.
Thank you very much, Sister Jackson, for such encouraging expressions of faith. Jehovah is there to help us if we trust in him and put forth a sincere effort to give of ourselves in the preaching activity. The second way to give is by helping those related to us in the faith. Paul wrote about this in Galatians 6:10. It reads, "So then, as long as we have the opportunity, let us work what is good toward all, but especially toward those related to us in the faith." Yes, you are part of a beautiful family. Willingly use your time, energy, and resources to assist your fellow believers and work what is good toward them. Think about your brothers in the congregation and identify those whom you can assist in practical ways. Ask yourself, is there someone in the congregation I could help by giving that person a ride to a meeting? Or perhaps run an errand for him or for her? Perhaps visit the elderly and offer to assist them in practical ways. We all want to show personal interest in our brothers and sisters and be a source of encouragement to them. Also, we want to support relief efforts for needy Christians. Natural disasters occur, and there is sickness as well as poverty, among many other things. Doesn't it thrill you when you read how the brothers respond generously to assist fellow believers who are in need? At 2 Corinthians 8, 1-4, Paul expresses deep appreciation for the brothers in Macedonia. And notice why Paul felt that way. 2 Corinthians chapter 8, verses 1 through 4. Now we want you to know, brothers, about the undeserved kindness of God that has been granted to the congregations of Macedonia. During a great test under affliction, their abundance of joy and their deep poverty made the riches of their generosity abound. For it was according to their means. Yes, I testify, it was even beyond their means, while they, on their own initiative, kept earnestly begging us for the privilege of kindly giving, to have a share in the relief ministry for the holy ones. The brothers in Macedonia took the initiative to provide loving help to their spiritual family, in spite of their own poverty. What a fine example for us to be generous and ready to assist our spiritual brothers and sisters whatever way we can. Giving to others can be done in different ways. With that thought in mind, we are happy to interview Sister Penny Pierce. Sister Pierce, you have raised a family, you've spent decades in special full-time service, and traveled to a variety of lands with your husband Guy, who was a member of the governing body. And like Dorcas, you have a reputation for abounding in good deeds and gifts of mercy. Tell us, Sister Pierce, what motivates you to assist others?
Well, the answer is found in 1 Corinthians 29:14, where it says, "For everything is from you, and we have given to you what comes from your own hand. So anything that I may give actually comes from Jehovah." Recently, with the coronavirus, we've seen an outpouring of Jehovah's people giving. We all have given time and energy, emotions, a listening ear, and video chatting. Everyone, young and old, gave love, faith, and trust, and it didn't cost anything. I felt Jehovah is doing wonderful things in the middle of a tragic pandemic.
What you said is truly practical and very helpful. Sister Pierce, please tell us the experience you had when you hosted brothers and sisters during a special preaching campaign.
Well, at times we have the opportunity to help materially, too. Some years ago when the family was home, we had 30 people coming to stay at our home. They were going to preach to refugees. I had one bathroom, and I had $25, which I spent completely on food. Now I had $0. We never told anyone we didn't have money. I knew they didn't have money, too. We had a wonderful time. When the friends left Sunday night, I had more food than when they came. That food lasted us for 10 days to the end of the month. But I worried about the effect on my teenage sons, so I asked one how he felt. He said, "I know you have a jar of flour and oil." I didn't worry anymore.
Jehovah certainly blessed you. Tell us how you view what you did to host the friends that came to preach in your area.
Many of these acts of kindness I did were very small to me, but often I didn't know the big impact it would have in their lives. That's when you realize you've had the privilege of working with Holy Spirit. It's nothing I did. It's what Jehovah did.
That's beautiful, Sister Pierce. Now we would like to hear a final expression from you of the joy that you received personally in giving.
One never gives to Jehovah and not receive back 100-fold. It may not come from the same source, but it will come. Jehovah promises in Acts 20:35, there is more happiness in giving than there is in receiving. I have to admit, Jehovah spoils me with blessings.
Thank you very much, Sister Pierce. Jehovah has certainly blessed you for your generosity and your warm Christian hospitality. Helping one another strengthens the bonds of the brotherhood. And there is nothing like knowing that your brothers really do love you. That's how the brothers in Jerusalem felt when they were in need and received loving assistance from the brothers in Corinth. Please turn to 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verses 11 through 14. This is where the Apostle Paul describes the reaction of the needy brothers in Jerusalem to the generosity of the brothers in Corinth. That's 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verses 11 through 14. And this is what Paul wrote. In everything, you are being enriched for every sort of generosity, which produces through us an expression of thanks to God. Because the ministry of this public service is not only to provide well for the needs of the holy ones, but also to be rich in many expressions of thanks to God. Through the proof that this relief ministry gives, they, that is the holy ones in Jerusalem, glorify God because you are submissive to the good news about the Christ, as you publicly declared, and because you are generous in your contribution to them and to all. And with supplication for you, they express affection for you because of the surpassing undeserved kindness of God upon you. The brothers in Jerusalem glorified Jehovah not just because they received some material provisions, but rather it was because the brothers in Corinth, who for the most part were new in the Christian faith, were motivated by love to send material help. Yes, the truth was in their hearts and made them cheerful givers to their brothers in Jerusalem. So they all were happy and felt Jehovah's love and approval. You baptism candidates will rejoice as you sense and are convinced that Jehovah is pleased with what you do. Proverbs 19:17 tells us how Jehovah views unselfish giving to those in need. It says, "The one showing favor to the lowly is lending to Jehovah, and he will repay him for what he does." Can you imagine lending to Jehovah? When we give spiritual or material help to our brothers in need, Jehovah sees and views it as a loan to him. Remember, you can't outgive Jehovah. By giving to others and refreshing them, the giver in turn will benefit himself, as Proverbs 11:25 says. The generous person will prosper, and whoever refreshes others will himself be refreshed. Today, you feel happy because you are giving of yourself to Jehovah, to serve him forever. You make us happy by taking that decision. We exhort you to maintain your happiness by doing what you can reasonably do to help others, by giving both in the ministry and in the congregation. Jehovah will give back to you in more ways than you can imagine. May the way in which you live as dedicated servants of Jehovah reflect forever the fundamental truth revealed by Jesus. There is more happiness in giving than there is in receiving.